What's Happening is brought to you by Leaky ceilings. Have you ever thought life has just been going a little too well lately?
No, I've never thought that.
Well, then do we have the product for you?
Mm-hmm.
If things feel like they can't get any worse, they can. Water damage. Welcome to the What's Happening podcast. We're journeying all through time and space to discover what's happening to the human race. We don't really care what's happened in the past. Welcome to the What's Happening podcast. What an intro.
Oh yeah.
What an intro.
You just even saying the words already made me tired because I just
Interesting.
Reliving this experience.
We had quite the adventure this week. Hello, everybody. Welcome to What's Happening. Hopefully you enjoyed that intro. And we never like introduce ourselves. I'm Spencer. I'm your host. Your hostess with the mostest. And joining me is the co-host, Shelby. Do you have any products?
No, I have
We haven't gone to Shelby's product portion of the podcast in a while.
I got nothing.
We have a fun adventure to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
We have a game that we're going to play next week, next time. So the games are coming, don't worry. And that might become the new running joke with this podcast, is that we'll just joke about how the games are definitely going to come. Don't you worry. They'll be here soon. Yeah, I have a game worked out in my head that I think's gonna be funny, and Shelby probably won't. So that's something to look forward to. But yeah, other than that, it's just our normal hijinks from a typical week, right?
Hell yeah.
All right. Before we get into it, what's happening?
Well, before the podcast, I drew a rat that is screaming. Because I really don't like this one-sidedness that we would just scream at the sight of a rat. I think they also scream seeing us.
I was like, what one-sidedness are you talking about? Are we about to get deep?
When people are
I'm sick and tired of this one-sidedness. It's always politicians talking down to us, but we never let our voices be
and
heard.
We're just the little rats screaming back at them. No, I just, obviously there's the classic, oh my god, a rat. But in movies they really up it and it's and there's always someone zoomed in and they're screaming. I think the rat is screaming with us. I didn't know where its tongue would go.
I really don't see it screaming. It looks like a rat.
And it's supposed to be open. I was really struggling.
Yeah. Fun story about a mouse that I can tell you.
What about one you can't tell me? Super secret.
No, I can't tell you that one.
Shit.
I promised.
The rat?
Enrique.
Oh, no.
No, so, from where we grew up, I'm guessing you had mice in your house from time to time, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say, but we both live near, some wooded area. And yeah, just mice sometimes get into a house.
Yeah.
I don't think
that's a pretty normal thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that's
especially
a weird
when
thing.
It's colder.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It was always when it was cold, typically fall time when it's getting cold. You'd notice them. And I've always had cats growing up. But all of my cats growing up, specifically the ones that I can remember encountering mice, those cats are stupid. Those are dumb cats. They don't know what to do with a mouse, so they play with it. They think it's a toy, and they let it kind of run around, and then they just whack the shit out of it. It goes into a dazed and confused state. That's normally when we could take care of them. But they never just actually went for the kill, Too docile. But yeah, we one time had a cat a mouse that was brought upstairs from our basement by a cat. Because that's the other thing. They'd probably just be down in our basement, and we'd be none the wiser. But a cat brought it to the upstairs, the living area, if you will, and let it go, and then it ran, as a mouse would do. And I forget what my dad was doing. He was going to get something. I think he wanted to get like a vacuum to like suck it up.
What?
Yeah. As like a way of catching it.
Okay.
And so it went behind our fridge, or went under the fridge. And he was like, just watch the fridge. And like, if it comes out, just
Do
like
what?
keep track of it. Like stop it.
Okay. Ask it if it wants a drink. It's like been here for a while.
Ask it if it wants a cookie. If you give a mouse a cookie. And so this little mouse, you know, could fit like 5 of these things in my hand probably. That's how small it was. Comes darting from out underneath the fridge. And I just went full panic mode. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And so I like jumped out of its way essentially.
You were like, oh no, please, after you.
And it ran under our oven.
You idiot.
And then we never saw it again.
Yeah?
Yeah. And my dad was like, you didn't like kick it or like, and I was like, no, because fight or flight kicked in.
And you're
a mouse
flighter.
caused me to fly. I'm a flighter at heart. I'll flight you right now.
I've never seen a mouse in my house alive, because the only way we ever find out that they're there is because they always find a way to get into our food pantry.
Oh no.
Yeah, so there's just a day where all of a sudden you go, oh shit, and there's like mouse droppings everywhere and like bags are eaten into. So that happens like once a year, and then we set up traps in like the known places, and then you find a mouse a few days later. So
yeah, that's the thing. I don't think we ever really set up traps in my house, if I'm being honest, if I'm thinking about it. I don't know if we have traps set up anywhere. Probably because we're worried, because we'd put them in a spot where, because like the litter boxes for the cats are downstairs, and that's again where the mice most likely are coming in from, and so we'd probably have to worry about the cat stepping in a mouse trap or something stupid, because again, cats, they're dumb cats,
right?
So
right.
But yeah, so that was a fun little mouse story based off of the rat.
But yeah, wouldn't you also think, like, I feel like we really villainize rats.
I feel like if I saw a rat, I'd probably scream.
Yeah, but I think it's screaming too. That's all I'm
saying. Do you think you would scream?
I'd probably jump. Yeah. It would scare me a little bit.
I think a rat would really throw me off.
I think it just catches me off guard more than anything. It's not like an innate fear. It's just like, oh God, what's that doing here? Like, get out.
You don't belong here.
But then I would just be like,
but what if the rat was like smoking a cigar and looking up at you?
Then I would scream. I would scream.
It like goes to talk, but it just lets out like little like
and little puffs of smoke, like it's doing the Gandalf, like giant rings of masterful.
The smoke like hits you in the face. It's like a super inconsiderate rat.
You know what? Fucking kill it. Yeah. Fucking kill it.
I'd run.
Yeah.
I would run. I would jump and I would run.
That would make me scream, but yeah, I don't know. That was on my mind. What's happening with you? That was my rat bit. Welcome to the podcast.
You got bit by a rat. Bit rat. What's going on with me? What's going on with me?
Would you?
Nothing. You know, same old, same old. It's a good time of the year to be into video games, getting on the video game news.
I thought you were just like, it's a good time of the year.
That like, too. Okay. It is.
Sure.
You know, we can all agree on that. But yeah, that's been my life.
You don't have any like, oh wow, this happened.
Oh, well, earlier I drew a hippopotamus. And no, it was singing, because we sing to hippopotami and they would sing back to us, ideally. Yeah.
Have I told you that in high school I went on a kick? I was like, if a hippopotamus sat on you, it would kill you.
Yes.
And everyone was like, well, yeah, but you realize like hippopotami are like really territorial and would kill you in a bunch of other ways. Hang on a second.
I don't think hippopotami is the plural.
It sounds a lot better than hippopotamuses, because that's from like the song.
I don't know what the plural is now that I'm thinking about it.
I'm gonna.
No, we'll go with it. Hippopotami.
Not a pie. No, but I was like stuck on it. I was like, if they sat on you, you're dead.
Yeah.
And, like, I think they'd like literally rip you apart first, because they got those big honking All their teeth are like giant
Shelby,
molars.
I'm gonna take you on a little journey here real quick. If most animals
Like a mouse.
were to sit on you, you'd probably die. Yeah, most.
Yeah.
So like a rabbit would fall into most. I think if a rabbit were to sit on you, you would die because you'd go, oh
It's
my
so
God,
cute.
it's so cute.
I know.
I'm dead. Thank you.
Classic.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Any other like really just common things that you used to say in school that people would go, yeah, Shelby, that's right, good for you.
Probably, but I can't think of any at the moment.
How about
It took me until 10th grade of school to realize the square root of 1 is just 1, and you don't remove you remove the square root.
what?
I'm pretty confident. Now I could totally be wrong on this story. I kept leaving my answers to things as the square root of 1. And one day...
Why? Wait, what? In what context were you answering
Biology.
something? Were you answering something with the square root of 1?
Math!
What? Yeah, but like, when were we...
I just...
But what would get you there?
The equation...
What's 3 minus 2? Square root of 1.
Yeah, I didn't realize the singular number 1 existed. I always put a square root over it. No, but like square roots were introduced, and then I kept, if it's like a unsquareable number, you just leave it, the answer in complicated math, as just the answer is the square root of this number, because you can't simplify it any further. And so when I would get the square root of 1 as the answer, I would leave that. And then like a while later, I was forced to answer a question in front of the class, which is just about my biggest nightmare in the world. And I went, the answer is the square root of 1. I think I answered it wrong at least 3 times. And then went, oh, it's the square root of 1. And then I was so flabbergasted, because I was not flabbergasted. I was just very flustered because I hate speaking. And so I was like shutting down, and he was like, but what's the square root of 1? And I literally was like, I don't know. I was like, it's the square root of 1. I was like yelling. And then he was like, my dude, it's 1. It's just 1. Just put 1 on the paper.
He said, bro.
Yeah. Sit down.
1.
Breathe. Maybe we'll get a drink of water. It's 1. And that's very...
Was that 11th grade?
10th. Maybe. Yeah.
Geometry.
It was 10th. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be frustrated in geometry too.
But yeah, so that's something I didn't know until 10th grade.
What about the War of 1812?
What about it?
What year was it?
Is that the one in
Anyway, who was it? Was it you who thought World War II was like the 70s?
I don't think so.
I forget. Somebody told me they were like, yeah, like in the 70s. And I was like, come again? I was like, when was Jesus here?
A couple of years ago.
Can you tell me that? I don't know, like 2,000 years ago? You're close. Yeah. 0, maybe?
A little before that.
Well, no, before that was BC.
Yeah, before Columbus. That was before America existed.
So it goes... Oh.
Our time only makes sense on the calendar when America existed, because it obviously didn't exist before colonizers showed up. Obviously, that's not how history works.
Are we going there?
Sarcasm.
Are we doing this?
Heavy sarcasm.
Are we?
That's all.
Is this our topic today?
No.
Hey everybody, we're here to tell you about
Jesus.
History. And Jesus. Did you know Jesus wasn't white? Uh-oh. Do you think... Wow, wait. Okay, no, we are going to go there now. Do you think... Because you and I recently were talking about how, like, in, like, Roman, Greek culture, like, people be fucking. Like, just... If it moves... people will fuck it.
Gimme.
Yeah, like it does not matter. So like, and like it goes.
We were talking about like the construct of gender and gender roles
and like sexuality.
Yes.
And like same sex relationships and stuff like that. We're talking about how like you always hear about like the gods, right? That they worshipped were like that. They were very polygamous.
Yeah.
Just
but just in general.
No, I guess not.
No,
That's not right.
No, because that's like a committed relationship with multiple.
You know,
yeah.
People, like I said, it didn't matter, right? Do you think Jesus? You think Jesus was bi?
Ooh.
I feel like Jesus fucks.
You know what? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, listen, he was surrounded by a lot of dudes a lot of the time.
I haven't read up on my Jesus lore lately.
So, I mean, John likes to remind everybody that we were all God's daughters. So,
but then he wouldn't be bi. Because everyone around him is a bunch of girls. I don't know.
Just saying. Is this what we're here to talk about today?
No, one thing.
1-800-JESUS1. Let us know.
One thing that I wanted to say before we get into our leaky apartment.
Leaky.
Is we kind of just like didn't even acknowledge, and we don't need to like go into it, but we didn't even acknowledge and just like brushed over you being a Twitch affiliate for a whole year. And both you and I on our separate platforms are within a few fingers worth of followers or subscribers to hit 100.
Oh my God. What do you, so you're talking about YouTube?
I'm talking about YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, just a few friends away that I'll never find.
You're like, yeah, I just need a couple more people. So if you could go over to youtube.com/except
it's not there yet because I need 100.
You need 100.
And it's something.
Ooh, I just scratched into the microphone.
It's something very weird. It's crazy to think about because I've been very non-consistently making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Very non-consistent. I mean, I started when I was like 17 making YouTube videos.
Look at you little star.
No, absolutely not. Most of them are privated because they're really cringe, and it was just me being like, so I have this nail polish, and I don't know, it's okay. I got it out of like my mom's cabinet.
We were supposed to do like reactions to our own stuff, to our old stuff.
I took a lot of it down because it was just like shit. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't even know what I'm talking about in this video. It was just me like rambling.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like crazy how long I've been like even mildly interested in making videos. And not that I was ever like, oh man, I wish I had 100, but it's just like weird to like finally be that close to it and have just been like doing this for fun for how many years?
You are just a few weeks away from your big blow up. 7 years in the making.
But it's not something I ever like took really serious. I very intermittently and almost never actually took it seriously. Like I'd go through like a 3-month stint of like making a lot of videos and then like stop, and then it was a lot of that stuff. And I know like it's funny in today's internet world to be like, I'm almost at 100 followers.
Yeah, because literally nobody fucking cares.
Yeah, but it's just like cool. I don't know. I don't really expect anything. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And it's like crazy that you've been streaming for like coming up on a year and a half now, and affiliate for a year. Affiliate, no, not the whole time we've been up here. Not quite. It was right after we moved up here.
Yeah, it was a little bit after.
But like that's really cool. Very exciting. Just shit like that. That's like, wow.
Yeah, it's like, wow. Wow.
But yeah, I feel like there are two things that like neither of us really expect to like go anywhere insane. But it is cool to just like get that little like, wow, look, you've done something.
Yeah. No, I agree. For sure.
But yeah, just wanted to.
It's funny, like you see like all the stories of like people who are just like, you know, you should never like compare yourself to like other people and stuff like that. And it's really funny because, one, that's true. Like you shouldn't, right? Because, you know, everybody's growth is tied to them. Like it's going to differ from person to person no matter what. And yeah, and so you always see the stories of people who like, yes, you more often than not, you hear about the stories of people who blew up instantly. That's because that's, you know, that sells, right? Like that's like the fantasy.
Of it, yeah.
But, you know, in all actuality, like I equally now see stories about people like this person streamed, weekly for 5 years, and now they're a partner. They just hit partner.
Yeah.
And like now they've got a pretty consistent gig going, and it's just like I see that and I'm just like, yeah, if I get there, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the place.
It's like, but basically what I'm getting at is like, because I haven't gotten there within a week of being affiliate, within a year of being affiliate, like in the back of my head, I'm like, well, this isn't going anywhere. Like, I'm going to keep doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, well, this isn't going to go anywhere. So why even put effort into it? And then also just the fact that I enjoy doing it. So like,
right.
I could lose all 98 of my followers tomorrow, and then I would stop streaming.
That would be the line. I'm done now.
Yeah. If I fall back down to 0, I'd probably give up, because that's probably people telling me something. Like, leave. Like, go. Go. Get out.
Please stop.
We hate you.
Yeah, I feel like I follow a handful of like productivity, like entrepreneurial people who like just talk about like how they do things, a lot of like work ethic types of people. And everything like most of them say is like, if you truly want to see an opportunity in something, you have to like put consistent planned effort into it for like 2 to 3 years to know if it's even feasible. Like, I mean, yeah, again, you can get excited about like beginning growth, about a possible like bump. I mean, like we've both experienced it where all of a sudden it's like you just get a small bump and that can be really exciting. But like if you don't have it planned to like maintain through that, when you're not getting a bump, when you're just like kind of plateauing, then like you're not really in it. Which, I mean, that's not like really the easiest thing in the world, because obviously like you want it to be exciting.
Been stagnant for weeks, months, basically a year. When I got there, I mean, I pushed really hard and I got there, and now it's just, it's there. It's something, but good. I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, I mean, we put varying degrees of effort into like what we do. But I mean, like I said, But
it's also not like, again, it's not the thing that
we're not,
like,
but we're not going in with a plan.
All of our time to this, and this is going to be it. And if it doesn't work, it is actually the end of the world.
Right. We've never really done anything like that.
If people, but I think that's the thing. I think people go in with that mindset of like, I have nothing else. This is what I'm going to do. And those are the people that more often than not, it seems, get it.
I mean, yeah, but you're
get
putting
the
like,
big thing,
putting like every ounce of your energy
there are plenty
into
of people who work a 9 to 5 and then have, the secondary.
Yeah.
That's what I like it for. So yeah, that's cool. We didn't talk about that.
Just wanted to brush on it. That's all. It's fun. We have fun. So paint the picture.
Okay.
It's midnight.
Yeah. Okay. So Shelby and I, like I said at the top, we've had probably the best adventure since moving up here. We've been watching Lovecraft Country.
That's our adventure.
That's our adventure. Because that show, let me tell you, is one wicked adventure.
Crazy.
Really good show. I'm really enjoying it. It's like, I don't want to say it's all over the place, because then I think that's like a turn off. It's just like,
it's one of those like mind-bending shows a little bit.
It's just crazy. And I don't fully understand what's going on, but I'm also dumb. So take that for what it's worth. But I'm loving it. Even when I'm like, wait, what's this person, what's their end goal? I don't care. I love it. So we're watching that. We're watching a sex scene in it. Oh my God. Let me paint that picture real quick.
Nope.
So you've got, no, but yeah, we were watching that. Kind of like into our like wind down point. It was raining outside, kind of just like a crappy day. We spent the day, what did we spend that day doing? We had to be out and about because earlier that day there was an apartment showing and there was building maintenance, so we didn't have water for a few hours that day. Yeah, so we like went out and about and we're just like chilling. So yeah, but yeah, so and I streamed that day, so it was after streaming that the event happened. The sex scene. The sex scene. Yeah, so we were sitting and we were watching, and Shelby goes, "Do you hear that?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's the rain." And it sounded like...
It sounded so loud. It was just a consistent dropping sound.
It was a consistent dropping sound, and there are like leaves down on the ground, and people have like air conditioner units, so like the water will like land on that and then like drip off of it, and there's a fire escape right outside our one window. And so I thought that, because sometimes in like corners you get that like steady stream, especially because it was raining pretty good, and so I thought water was just like pelting one leaf over and over again, just like right, but like a little slower than that. And so Shelby got up to go investigate, and
I walk into our bathroom with just like, there is water just smacking our toilet, and it is wet everywhere. Like the walls are wet. There's a layer of moisture on the ground. It's just, there's water.
Yeah, so our, to kind of set it up, our toilet is like in a corner. So to your right, you have like the wall and like the toilet vapor, right? And then it comes out as far as like a normal toilet, but like it's in like a tight spot because like the sink's right on your
left.
I
mean, it's basically you walk into a doorway and the toilet's tucked in on the left, and then the rest of the bathroom is in front of you.
Right. And I would say a good like probably 6 inches to a foot of area around the toilet was soaked.
Oh my god. Well, it's just bouncing. The water leak is directly above the toilet, and so it is just hitting the toilet and bouncing off of it, going everywhere. And it's like a pretty steady, heavy dripping. So, and we have no idea how long that had been happening. In my head, I felt like I'd heard the noise for like max 2 to 3 minutes, and then was like, realized it was a repetitive sound because I hate repetitive sounds, and was like, what is going on?
My guess is it had to have been going for like an hour.
If it was, then we just heard it picking up. Like, it must have been a really light dripping. Because I swear, like, I heard the noise and was kind of like, what is that? And then kept hearing it more and more and was like, oh my God, what the hell is that noise? But I mean, yeah, it could have been like just a small drip to start. And yeah. But regardless, everything's wet.
So it's Tuesday and it's at midnight.
Yeah.
So midnight into Wednesday.
And we do our usual reaction of things where we just go, oh my God, we like whip the toilet seat open to hopefully get it into the toilet.
The problem with that is that it's falling from such a height that it hits the water and just splashes out. So like that didn't help at all.
And then we just started grabbing everything and like throwing it.
So the door opens towards the toilet, and we had both of our robes, if you remember from episode...
It would have been last season.
Yeah.
We talked about our robes. So
those were soaked.
Yep.
Because the water was bouncing off, and like the door was obviously just open.
I mean, basically everything, our bath mats, everything.
Yeah, so so we were like grabbing stuff and like just getting everything out. We ended up putting like a trash bin essentially on the toilet, but then so a piece of the ceiling was like hanging down and the water was dripping through it consistently, but then all of a sudden the water was running off of how it was hanging off and was like running and like pretty consistent. So that means water was like getting trapped, and then enough weight was there to pull it down, that gravity then pulled the water. So I had to because then it was falling next to the fucking toilet, so then I had to like finagle that, and we got another thing to try and catch it in both spots. So then we were like, well, now what do we do? Because it's the worst time for fucking a water leak to happen. I mean, anything like maintenance related. Nobody is going to be able to do fuck all about this. So, we're just like, well, we're going to have to put in a maintenance request. Apartment viewing for our apartment was Wednesday. And so I decided, out of the kindness of my heart, to text our building manager and let him know, like, hey, we're putting in a maintenance request. Like, don't think I'm just like texting you like, yo, deal with our leak.
Deal with our leak.
But I was like, yo, just so you know, like, we're putting in a maintenance request, so you'll see it, but there's a leak in our bathroom. I know you had the showing planned, but in case you want to, like, do something about that, because there's water everywhere. And of course it was right over our toilet, so we were like, great, we're not going to be able to go to the bathroom or anything, so that was annoying. But yeah, so there's a piece of paper on a door down on our trash room, and we were like, maybe that has like an emergency contact for like an emergency maintenance contact.
Basically, yeah, our viewpoint was to make sure we weren't missing something that we were supposed to be doing.
We were both,
but we figured nothing would get done until the morning.
We were both CAs, RAs in college, so like, you know, you've got that like on-call thing in your head still.
Even the apartment we lived at in college had a middle of the night like request thing, like a phone number to call.
So Shelby ran down, and I can't even.
Basically, this paper was definitely written as like this is for like everyone to know if there's an emergency, like this is what to do. And it was a handful of like building things, different stuff.
Like if the heat is out.
Yeah, like this is how to react, right? Well, one of the things, literally, it was written very vague, I'm sure, is to be like, encourage people if there's an emergency to like call for help. But one of them was just liquid, I don't know what the word, permeating, is that the word? Like liquid coming through your ceiling was written as a reason to call the police. Like that was the sentence. And I just like looked at it and I walked up and I just went, well, we're not doing anything for the rest. Like we're just not touching it. Because like that is 100% not what you should do. It's not like our building wasn't collapsing. There was no structural, like a chunk of like the drywall of our ceiling fell.
Because that hadn't happened yet.
No, but I'm saying that's it. Like it wasn't a structural thing. It wasn't like the ceiling was about to cave. It wasn't anything like that. It was a just steady drip that if anything, someone should just get to it as soon as possible in the morning. It wasn't oh my God, my life is in danger. Let me call the police and tell them my ceiling is dripping water because a piece of paper in the lobby told me I could.
I'm now thinking about it. If we would have called, we're like, water's coming through our ceiling. We were told to call the police. And I can just imagine the person on the other line, does the water have a knife? You're just like, no. And they're like, leave us alone.
Yeah, like up. It felt like the dumbest reason to call the police.
So, to cover our bases, because we still wanted to make sure we weren't doing anything wrong, we decided to call our cop buddy. And we said, is this something that we should call the police for? And he said, under no circumstances.
He laughed at us.
Should you call the police for that? What are they going to do about it? They're going to come to your apartment and they're going to go, yeah, it's a leak. There's nothing they can do about it.
Wait, can I say,
the dumbest thing.
At one point, you wanted to go get a leak and go, guys, we have a leak.
Yes, I wanted
photograph.
to. No, I didn't want to buy one. I just wanted to Photoshop it. I was determined to learn Photoshop to put a leak in a picture of our ceiling so I could say, oh no, there's a second leak. Which would have been really fucking funny. It would have been
really funny.
But yeah, so while we were on the call with him, that's when the piece of ceiling fell, and I almost had a nervous breakdown because our apartment was crumbling around us, and holy shit, I can't wait to fucking move. So anyway, we set everything up. And I was like, who knows when they're going to see this response, this message of an emergency, because there's water coming through a ceiling. So I was like, well, it's 1:30 now, probably around that time. I was like, I guess I'm going to set an alarm for like 7:30 because people reasonably wake up at 7. And, you know, I basically in my head, I was like, they're going to see this at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. And they're going to, because it's an emergency, be right over. And then we're both going to be asleep. And they aren't going to be able to get into our apartment.
I mean, they would have. They just would have walked
in. They wouldn't have because
sleeping.
I don't know if they have a key for that bottom.
Oh, no, you're right, actually. No, I think you're right.
So.
I totally forgot about that.
So I was like worried about that, obviously. So I was a mess. And I set my alarm for 7:30. We didn't get a fucking response to the request until 9:30. a plumber didn't show up until 12:30.
So they have been leaking for 12 hours straight at least that we're aware of.
The only good news is that construction is going on at our building, the building next to us. They're the ones who caused the water leak, by the way. That's not true. I made that up.
They somehow got into our building.
We have no idea what actually happened, other than the fact that the day before it happened, the water was turned off, and then it was turned back on, and maybe they should have just left it off.
I think the two events were unrelated. If anything caused it with the water being turned off, it was probably just that it was old pipes and like the resurging of pressure probably like finally futzed with something.
Whatever.
I doubt it was actually whatever they were doing yesterday.
But anyway, they're doing construction during the week, and so that's been like waking me up, and then I've been unable to fall asleep. So realistically, waking up at 7:30, I maybe would have only gotten like an extra 30. So whatever. Where else was I going with this? Oh, the bin that we had set up, after the drywall fell, it was just a consistent drip at that point. But it was like perfectly full after about 6 hours. And so I was able to dump it and then put it back. And then, yeah, otherwise we would have woken up to it overflowing and water everywhere. And it was also high enough that, that the water was hitting it and then splashing out anyway. So it was good that I got up when I did, in hindsight. But yeah. So they came, and then we, once the plumber finally got here, we were like, get us the fuck out of here. It was also deadly hot, because that was during like the heat surge.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have AC. We don't. And so we were like, yeah, get us the hell out of here. So we went to like a coffee shop, spent some time there, applied to some apartments, reached out to some apartments. That was a good use of time, you know.
We sent messages and we went, hi, we really hate where we currently live.
Hi, do the ceilings leak here? No? Good. And we came back, and stuff was for the most part fixed. The drip was done, I think, by the time we got back.
He had found the source and had taken care of it.
Yeah.
But like basically it came down to like he had no idea at that point like the amount of damage.
Yeah.
Because it ended up actually being a drip that started on the top floor of our building, which our building has 4 stories, including the basement, and it was a drip that was going down the entire length of the building. So we were the only ones that actually like it showed, but it would have within that day if it for the other apartments if it hadn't for us, it would have like totally you would have been seen everywhere.
Yeah. So the construction was still going on. Potentially people still coming in and out of our apartment with the drip and stuff. I had to record Good Game, Bad Game. And Mike was on a time crunch. So we had to start like on time. So we were getting like a mini recording booth.
We built a pillow fort.
Which I need to tweet the video of it because it's fucking ridiculous.
It's really funny because you can barely even tell like what you're doing because you're so smushed into a corner that like not having any idea of like I just built a pillow fort between like 2 closet doors so I could silence the sounds.
Yep.
It looked ridiculous.
It was hot still.
Yeah, we had to turn off all the fans
fan in the bedroom and like close the door, and I had the window closed to try and deafen the sound a bit. And right as I'm like getting nestled into the corner, there's a knock at the door.
So naturally, I thought it was the plumber because I was like, oh, he clearly didn't finish something, like, because he'd been going in and out all day. I run out, and we had definitely seen the plumber within, like, 20 minutes of this happening. So, like, in my head, he is still in the building. And so I assume it's him. I think I, like, yelled, like, you can come in, because I was, like, literally helping build you a pillow fort. So I, like, run out. I open the door, and it is our building manager with the people who were supposed to view the apartment the hour prior, but we had just assumed it got canceled, and they just went, hi, we're here. I I absolutely can guarantee my face just like dropped because I was so confused and like overwhelmed in a second that the woman, one of the two people viewing, just literally apologized to my face for being there. Because I was so confused.
Had shit
everywhere.
Like, because like when we know when we know people are going to come, like we straighten it up a little bit. Like we have a lot of stuff in this apartment, but we
put things away. We vacuum,
pick up like as much of the stuff off the floor as we can, and like make sure there's a clear path. I mean, there's not a lot of room to walk through here, but we do our best.
There was stuff everywhere. There were piles.
The bedroom was a mess because shit from the bathroom was thrown in there.
Yeah.
To get it out of the bathroom. The bathroom was a mess. There was water everywhere still. We hadn't cleaned it up yet because we didn't know if anything else was going to be happening. And so without knowing, like, why would we clean it up?
Yeah.
And the living room was a mess because like
I'd been working, like a bunch of stuff was going on
everywhere.
Yeah, it was so funny though because literally I'm standing in the door, I'm just deadpan.
We had laundry just like on the rack.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm like deadpan staying forward. The woman literally goes, "I'm sorry," because clearly I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Which I felt really bad. It's obviously not their fault in any way whatsoever. And I just like don't even think I said anything. I think I just turned around and like jogged to you to be like, oh my god, there's people here, but like was trying not to say anything to make it more uncomfortable because it was already really uncomfortable. Like you could tell that couple already just wanted to leave because like we were really thrown off. And I just walk in. I think I just like stared at you and I see you climbing out of the pillow.
Well, I was already working my way out because I heard our building manager's voice. And so I was like, oh, he's coming by to like see the damage and like talk to us about it and say like, hey, you don't need to pay next month's rent.
That's definitely not.
Because like that's something that you would maybe think about doing, but
no,
maybe also not because maybe fuck it, who cares? Or we'll give you half month's rent or some sort of favor because this happened to you and you were unable to use a toilet for over 12 hours. You had to go to a coffee shop to use the bathroom. No, none of that. Instead, hey, I've got
people here.
Tweedledee and Tweedle fucking Dumb.
Hey, no, they were nice.
To see the apartment. No, they were.
It's so funny because I run into the bedroom, I look at you, you climb out of the pillow fort, I just start grabbing shit and throwing it into a corner onto the bed just to like if they wanted to walk in because they're viewing an apartment. I want them to be able to see what they want to see. I want them to see the chaos that is ensuing. And so I'm just like throwing shit. I like make eye contact again with the couple. They kind of peek into the bedroom. You're just like not knowing what to do. I'm throwing stuff and then like they kind of like peek in. I hear them like walk out. They were here maybe a minute and a half, like maybe. And the thing that like I literally felt so bad. Like I think at one point I was just like, I'm sorry. Like I think like I think she apologized to me again before leaving. I'm pretty sure I was like, sorry for the way I think like this is just rough. I'm sorry. And the thing that like sent me over the edge, building manager goes, yeah, so like it's all done, right? And I was like, what? And he was just like, yeah, like the bathroom's like taken care of. And I was like, what is it? Is it? And he was just like, yeah, like you have water again. I just like I think I shut down and just stopped talking, but I'm like, there's still a hole in our ceiling. We literally just spoke to the plumber who was like, it's bad. Like not that your apartment's bad, but the damage throughout the building could be pretty bad. Someone's toilet upstairs had to get ripped out because of all of this. Like that, it wasn't a little like, oh, there's just a little water. We just need to like wipe it up really quick. It's okay. And like just him being like, it's done. And I'm just like, no, it's not. There was an ocean in our basement.
If you listened to our podcast, you would know we don't live in the greatest apartment in the world.
It's an old building.
And so already I feel like a tough sell. Like you got us. Good job. Like we were desperate. But it is a tough sell. And you want to show it while it has massive water damage and water just laying. Like if there was a thin layer of water throughout the entire apartment, would that have deterred them?
Probably not.
Like unbelievable.
Yeah, I felt really bad.
Why would you even bother? Like, what a waste of time for those people. Like, who in their right mind is going to walk into a building that has a hole in the ceiling with water dripping out of it and go, but I could picture it. But I could picture living here for sure. I mean, you just get a little spackle and other terms.
I felt bad for the couple. I really can't say that enough because we were all clearly uncomfortable. They were not here longer than 2 minutes because they clearly were just like, you know what, we're just gonna leave.
I just don't understand what the hell our manager was thinking.
It was just like the culmination of the whole day's events that like it felt like mentally I was just fried. Like I was just like I felt overwhelmed like throughout the whole day, and like thank God like the plumber was like so nice, like explain, like I felt bad for him because he literally was like I should not be here by myself, like this is so much, but he was so nice and like kept like explaining things and being just like yep, this sucks, this just being very real, I guess. Like, and I felt like that was very needed in the chaos that was that day. I'm not like entirely trying to bitch because like shit like that happens. It just happens. But it's like the reactiveness to it that really set us off.
I think the thing that annoyed me the most was the fact that, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'm like being a little too generous to think somebody's going to wake up at 6 o'clock and like check that and be at the building by 7:30. But the fact that like there wasn't a response until 9:30, and then the fact that nobody was here until 12:30, like 12 full hours is like ridiculous.
It's just like
opinion.
in
like,
the
that's
end
such a slow response time.
Like I know,
and like it's water damage. Like that's like the worst thing that can happen outside of a building burning down. The worst thing that can happen to a building is water. Yeah. Like typically, right? That's like the rule of thumb.
My knowledge, yeah, basically. And that's the thing, like
and I was like, clearly it's a water issue. So like you can't tell me that like somebody who works for the management company doesn't know where the water shutoff is here to get here to turn the water off to prevent more damage from happening.
I don't know. I mean, I obviously
maybe not.
I don't know the ways of reacting to it, but like, and I know you and I can be like overthinkers and stressed out people, but it literally was almost making me feel crazy that I'm like you said, like this is water damage. Like I know that's literally one of the worst things to happen, and our building, as old as it is, that is the last thing it needs. So like, yeah, in my head,
I don't even know what's going to be in these walls now that all this moisture was in there. I mean, it's going to be, I'm sure there's already mold in there.
Oh, probably. I'm sure.
It's going to be.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'd really be interested to see if they do any, like I really want to see what the upstairs apartments looks like, since they actually had to get their walls like ripped out to get stuff looked at, because that's where the problem was. So at least we don't have that, I would say. But like our walls now, the wall on both sides has the walling started to bubble because there's moisture in there. So now there's just giant patches of bubbles. And I'm like, how do you not look at that when viewing and go, yeah, this looks good. This is good. And again, shit happens. It's an old building. There's going to be little things, but like there hits a point where it's like clearly just we're not even going to remotely care or take care of it. We're just going to wait till it's so bad we have to gut it. And that's just, I don't know. Again, I don't own anything. I don't know plumbing, but from the way the plumber made it sound, I think we were right in the way we reacted to it, because he immediately was like, shit, this is a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. So I don't know how the story was told to him, but he clearly did not know what he was getting himself into that day. MVP
award goes to.
Yeah, he was great. But yeah, I don't know. It's like really, it's just annoying. And it's not even like I need like top tier attention, but it just like upsets me when like people care that little. But whatever, I guess. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying not to be like the angriest person in the world, because it was like almost a week ago now, and I just feel like we told it a bunch, and to be like, can you believe it? And it is crazy, and it was crazy, but it's also just like I understand shit happens.
I would file this under a normal occurrence.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just.
Of course, it had to happen to us.
It was just how it all unfolded.
Haven't we been through enough?
It's just how it all unfolded that my brain was like, "Is this real?"
No, it was most certainly not.
But
yeah, that was our job. Hey, we actually had a happening though. You know.
this is what happens when we don't leave our apartment.
We cause water damage.
We cause water damage. It
Yeah.
left us with like 3 days of laundry for our tiny RV washer.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun.
And it worked. We got it done. We've now viewed 2 places in total.
Viewing hopefully 2 more
Hopefully
before
2 more.
this comes out. But yeah. Hopefully we pick a winner. We don't really enjoy the viewing. I don't really enjoy the viewing process. It's fun, but I just like get bored of it really quickly. And I just like want to have an option and like do it and like be done.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm really hoping which I think you are too, like that one of these is like it and then we're done. So
For sure.
Maybe next time we talk we'll have a place, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll at least have applied to a bunch, but hopefully we get an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, lots to come. And then you can just hear us bitch about moving and setting up a new space, and everywhere we go we're like, ooh, this would make like a good, like we could set up a whole thing for streaming / that would be the same setup for the podcast. So we have big dreams for the next tiny space in an old building.
Yeah, hopefully the space isn't too tiny
Yeah.
and the building's not too old.
But that's what's been happening.
That's what's been happening.
Season 2.
Season 2.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. Next week, or next episode. Not next week. I always jump the gun with the wording. There will be a fun game. I will be bringing a game.
Can you give a hint, or are you just gonna let it all go for next episode? Because I don't even know.
Yeah, I can give a hint.
Okay.
How big of a hint do you want?
I don't care, as much as you're willing to give, without
right.
unless you just don't want to give anything.
First name starts with a T. That's what we'll leave it at.
First name of the game starts with a T.
Sure.
Or are you gonna make me name people who start with the letter T? Because this game's gonna go 3 seconds.
Go ahead, name one.
Tracy. Mama. That's all it got.
Okay, well, that was not the correct person.
Shit.
So
All right.
you'll have to find out next time.
Next time on
What's Happening? Season 2.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, for listening. Anyway, you take in this super amazing content. If you wouldn't mind, share it with a friend.
Rate it on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
And most importantly,
Stick
smash
around
that
for
subscribe
next
button.
episode. Thanks so much again. You can follow us on our independent socials, always written in the description, and you can find us on the next episode.
Goodbye.
Leaky.
It's eking everywhere.
We didn't even say that. You said the word eking to the plumber.
Bye.
Oh.